All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's a lovely Thursday evening, and I'm glad to host you once again. Thank you very much for being here. And again, I want to thank folks on TikTok for tapping and liking the live. We have about 50.2k likes right now on TikTok. So thanks to Brosoka, Akadol, Abi71, Koboko, and everybody who has helped to get us thus far. Thank you very much. All right, so glad to have you join us. Folks on YouTube and Facebook, thank you very much for being here. We're back, but it's good to be back. All right, so we're going to get into the conversation today. And I was saying earlier that when you look at the title, How Ibos Hijacked the Federal Civil Service, it's a continuation of, what we've been discussing for the last couple of sessions. So yesterday we talked about why non-Yorubas should not hold political offices in Yoruba land. And we did that not because we hate anybody or because we hate other ethnicities, but what we've discovered in our history is that what usually happens is that people will come into the space, they get opportunities, but rather than use the opportunity to take care of the people of the land or of everybody living in the land, they tend to, use that opportunity to favor their own ethnicities. In particular, their ethnicity. That would be Igbo particularly. And it's not something new. We've seen it happen over and over again. And so the recent brouhaha on social media about what the Honorable Ono Kalusi did in Oshodi Solo constituency is only the new iteration of a plan that's been going on for many, many years, right? And we have evidence of things like this happening even in the 1960s. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. So it's not, and to be very clear, this is not about hating any group or hating Ibos, like people always come around and say, oh, you hate Ibos. It's not about hating you guys. It's about the fact that a certain part of Nigerian history has been essentially hidden from the public. Therefore, we are condemned to repeating the mistakes of the past, and we shouldn't be doing that, okay? The point is to learn from the past, not to hate anyone. Now, if people have been doing certain things over time and then you are playing the game according to their, whatever rules they put together, you are the one on the losing side. They go on shouting tribalism, nepotism, speaking of the isms, but they are the ones doing exactly what they're accusing you of. And that's why I always say every accusation is a confession. They're literally telling you what they do. Most of what you hear in the public space is simple projection of their own reality. So it's important for us to know what has happened, not so we can hate other groups, but so that we can be properly equipped to be able to deal with Nigerian political reality. Okay, that's how things work. Those who don't learn from their history are condemned to repeating it. That's what Judge Santayana said. We don't want to be those who will have to repeat the terrible parts of our past. Having said that, let me welcome our folks on YouTube and Facebook again. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're on TikTok, please click on the icon above my image, join the team, drop a gift, drop heart maze, and whatever gift you want to drop. Why? Because these things help to push the live to the FYP. FYP simply means For You page. And if you're on YouTube, please like the live and share, and also on Facebook as well. Please like and share with your contacts. Let's enjoy this session together. So this particular video is not yet on YouTube. It will be on YouTube later tonight. But we're going to listen to it before we put it on YouTube. So we're in luck. Now, before we do this, we're going to read the article. Now, before we used to have a short description for every video. So we just read and just watch. But I decided that it might be a lot better to write these things as articles so that people can actually read before having to watch the video. If they can't watch immediately, they get the gist of the video itself. So I'm going to read the article. It's pretty long, but that's because of an article. And then we will listen to the video together. All right. So here goes. How Ibos hijacked the Federal Civil Service. Social media has been agog with the recent news of a lawmaker representing Oshodi Solo constituency who played out a highly primitive clannish plan. By the way, let me just quickly say something. In case you're wondering why we're still talking about this Oshodi Solo issue, it's because Koko Laron Faditi. Okay, just because you've heard it once doesn't mean you got it. I mean, you probably got it. Others may not have gotten it. Others may not even know what's going on. And for a people such as ours, like Yoruba people, we can be very complacent. You know, one of the beautiful things I like about our fathers and our culture is that we have the willingness to admit when we are messing up. Okay? In fact, you know, I used to say that I was born and bred in Ibadan. In Ibadan, they'll tell you that they already told you that they know their problem. We also have to know our problem as a people. When it comes to Nigerian politics, we are too lethargic, we are too complacent. Apathy. It's as if and that's what they were talking about in the 40s and 50s, about stirring people out of their lethargy. And it's important that we do that again. So if you hear us say this thing again and again, it's not because, why not talk about something else? It's because we need to get it and really understand what's happening to get to a point where you will not be the one telling others what has happened so that we don't repeat that stuff. So it's not about me sharing it. It's about you also doing the same thing. So that way, Antarawaji, right? Everybody is sensitized in Yoruba land. That's the point, okay? All right. How Ibos hijacked the Federal Civil Service. Social media has been agog with the recent news of a lawmaker representing Oshodi Solo constituency who played out a highly primitive clannish plan. By giving fellow Ibos 24 of the 29 slots for international training opportunities, he left Yoruba people with only 5 slots. And even then, it remains difficult to ascertain if those 5 were truly Yoruba. Many Nigerians are shocked by this blatant show of ethnic jingoism and nepotism, but that is likely because many do not know their history. What we see playing out is only the modern version of a culture of domination, of Igbo domination and blatant disrespect to their hosts. In 1964, the Western Caucus of the NCNC published a white paper revealing a calculated shift toward ethnic monopoly. The once sacred halls of federal administration, which thrived on merit and administrative harmony, were treated as the exclusive property of a single ethnic group. This was not a natural evolution of progress, but a deliberate top-down strategy designed to strangulate other groups and deprive them of their rightful heritage within their own country. The foundational principles of national unity were shattered by extremists who prioritize village loyalty over professional integrity. These individuals shouted "One Nigeria" at the loudest, while shamelessly executing the most ruthless acts of tribalism and family favoritism. By masking their agenda behind a bogus theory of tribal balancing, they effectively pushed the Yoruba people toward the margins. This historical evidence proves the expense of fairness and justice. The domination of the Nigerian Railway Corporation serves as a primary exhibit for this ethnic takeover. Following the appointment of Dr. Ekejani as chairman, a ruthless purge of seniority began. In 1960, the corporation bypassed senior Yoruba officers Mr. N.A. Kuforiji and F.A.O. Phillips. Well, you listen to all of these things in the video. I'll just read the part that Alimak Bodadambe. So, in 1960, the corporation bypassed senior Yoruba officers Mr. N.A. Kuforiji and Mr. F.A.O. Phillips to appoint Mr. J.C. Egbuna and Onitshaman as general manager. This trend trickled down every department. In the medical sector, Dr. Fomata was picked from the bottom of the seniority ladder over Dr. S.O. Ejiomi. By 1964, the hijacking was complete. Out of 431 names on the staff list, a staggering 270 were Ibos, leaving only 161 to be shared by all other ethnic groups combined. The Nigerian Port Authority tells an even more lopsided story of exclusion. Barring only the chairman and general manager, the first 25 topmost officers in the entire authority were all Ibos. The 1963 staff list reveals a complete monopoly. Out of 104 top posts, 73 were held by Ibos, while Yorubas were relegated to only 23. This translates to a 70% ethnic monopoly in a department where senior accountants, engineers, and traffic officers were replaced by tribesmen. Read Igbo tribesmen. Even specialized roles like the harbor masters and marine superintendents were dominated with Igbos holding 6 out of 8 superintendent positions. In the Nigerian railways, the hijacking reached the level of family business. The chairman used his influence to appoint his brother, Sao Dafe, a man with only a Standard 4 certificate, to a high-paying London post with massive allowances. Promotion cycles became a tool for tribal advancement. In August 1964, and another call to the bar 14 years earlier. The Yaba Technical Institute confirmed, I'll tell that again, the Yaba Technical Institute confirms that this pattern was a universal policy. Of the 29 indigenous senior staff members at the Institute, 21 were Ibos, leaving only 8 Yorubas. This level of, by the way, just in case you don't know, Yaba is in Yoruba land though. This level of saturation was replicated in the Electricity Corporation and even the University of Ibadan, where the machinery of the state was used to guard ethnic monopolies at the expense of the national interest. History is repeating itself with chilling precision in the current scandal involving Jesse Okejo Onuakalusi and the Oshodi Solo Federal Constituency 2. Just as the 1964 white paper exposed a 70% monopoly in the Port Authority, today we see a repeat of this ethnic lopsidedness in our own backyard. Reports indicate that out of 29 international, we said earlier, that out of 29 international training slots allocated to the constituency for travel to South Africa and Taiwan and China, 24 slots went to Ibos, while only 5 were allocated to indigenous people. Even more alarming is the use of suspicious names like Samajayi Crowther to fill those 5 slots, a move that suggests identity manipulation to hide the total exclusion of the host community. This is the exact same tribal balancing fraud seen in the 1960s. The mindset that hijacked the railways and airways in 1964 is the same mindset currently occupying legislative seats in Lagos. They shout one Nigeria to get elected, but once in power, they convert public opportunities into an ethnic trust fund. The evidence proves that the hijack of the Federal Civil Service was not an isolated incident, but a long-term policy of domination. The Oshodi Solo scandal is a contemporary confirmation that this pattern remains unchanged. When a representative uses his office to favor his kith and kin while using fake names to mask the erasure of his hosts, he has violated the cosmopolitan contract. Politics is war without bloodshed, and the only response to this ongoing invasion is total mobilization. Every Yoruba person must learn the lesson of 1964. Your hospitality is being weaponized against you. To stop this exploitation, there must be no voter apathy. You must collect your voter's card and ensure that on election day you are at the polls rather than playing football on the street. We must talk to our family members and ensure that leadership in our ancestral spaces remains in the hands of those who actually care for the land. Self-preservation is a strategic necessity. It is not hate. The ballot is our shield. Use it to ensure the hijack of our institutions and the theft of opportunities never happen again. Here's how Ibos hijacked the Federal Civil Service. Please take a listen. Let's start with the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Here, the party appointed Dr. Kejani as chairman of the board of directors, Onitsha Ibo. In 1960, the corporation wanted to fill the post of deputy general manager. There were 3 officers available to choose from. There was Mr. N.A. Kuforiji Yoruba, who at the time of the vacancy was assistant general manager staff, and Messrs. F.A.O. Phillips and J.C. Egbuna in order of seniority. But strangely enough, the corporation bypassed both Kuforiji and Phillips to appoint Mr. Egbuna and Onitshaman, who has since been appointed general manager of the corporation. Again, there was a vacancy of principal officer, staff and administration. The candidates available were D.A. Adebiyi, who was then senior labor relations officer, D.A.O. Rogers, E.E. Ekpe, S.O. Oke, and F.M. Alade. F.M. Alade is the one in that document that we read, that tribunal of inquiry, where they asked him, what did make you say you go chop this post? And he said, sir, first of all, I'm hungry. That Alade is the one they're talking about here. The candidates available to fill the vacancy of principal officer, staff and administration were D.A.O. Rogers, E.E. Ekpe, D.A. Adebiyi, D.A.O. Rogers, E.E. Ekpe, S.O. Oke, and F.M. Alade, all establishment officers in order of seniority. The corporation skipped Messrs. Adebiyi and Rogers, both Yoruba, to appoint Mr. Ekpe to the corporation Mr. Ekpe to the post. Hold your breath, brother. We haven't gone halfway yet. The corporation had room for a deputy assistant general manager staff, for which there were 3 candidates in order of seniority. Messrs. D. Adebiyi, FM Alade, the 2 men superseded for the post we have just dealt with, and E.A. Imokwede were lined up. Again, the corporation ignored Adebiyi and Alade and chose the man at the bottom of the ladder. 5 men applied for the vacant post of training and education officer in order of seniority and qualifications. They were R.A.A. Junaid, Senior Assistant Works Manager, T.O. Grillo, S.M.O. Denloye, A.O. Adewoyin, and A.N. Inoma. The first 4 candidates who happened to be Yoruba men were thrown off in favor of Mr. Inoma and Igbo man. All this happened in the management sector of the corporation. Why did they do that? Because Mr. Inoma was the one that they were going to write letter to in that tribunal stuff, that they told that you should appoint this person into the office. They needed the people in those places so they can funnel. It's like a funnel. And I'm reading this because somebody wrote something some days ago, like, Yoruba people were not really working in the federal civil service. Yes, Yoruba people were not working in many parastatals because, of course, Western Region was paying more. But Western Region did not have railway corporation. The only railway corporation that was available was the National Railway Corporation. Nigerian Railway Corporation. And some of these people were working there before the Ibos got there. But guess what? When it was time for promotion, they were sidelined. Let's go through the story in the Secretary's Department. There was a post of Deputy Secretary Legal to be filled. Mr. Megwa, LLB, vied for this post, but as usual, it was brushed aside for Mr. N.C. Ikejani, brother of Dr. Ikejani, chairman of the corporation. If you tell me there's no nepotism, thunder will fire you. Because that's how you see an Onakolusi in the same list that this Honorable Onakolusi put out yesterday. One of the relatives is there. Is there. If you go on his page, you see it there. I don't know. See, if the gods want to make a person mad, there's a way they run it. Like, you could just the Wama Shereni. Oh my God. You could just the Wama Shereni. Oh my God. Asherawa. Afinare to recita because Railway Corporation's own sense of justice and fair play. In other words, instead of appointing folks who actually qualify the nakedness, the post of hospital superintendent was opened to 3 men, to wit, in order of seniority, Dr. S.E.A. Ewa. The post of hospital superintendent was opened to 3 men, to wit, in order of seniority, Dr. S.E.A. Ewa, Railway Medical Officer since 1958, Dr. S.O. Ejiwumi, a Railway Medical Officer since May 1960, and Dr. D.B.A. Ofomata, Medical Officer July 1960. The corporation bypassed Doctors Ewa, who is Efik, and Ejiwumi, who is Yoruba, and went straight to the bottom of the ladder to pick Dr. Ofomata, Ibo. In the operating and commercial department, the corporation wanted to appoint an acting district superintendent, for which there were 3 officers in order of seniority: Messrs. S.A. Omishore, Yoruba, Senior Traffic Commercial Officer since 16/12/1960, T.S. Agbabiaka, Yoruba, Traffic Commercial Officer since 16/12/1960, and E.O. Agusiobo, Ibo, who became Traffic Commercial Officer on 22/5/1962. They were there since December 1960. He got there May 1962. And the 3 were considered eligible. The corporation brushed aside Mr. Omishore, Yoruba, and Mr. Agbabiaka, Yoruba, for Mr. Agusiobo, Onitsha, Ibo. The story is the same in the mechanical department. Once, there occurred a vacancy for a works superintendent in this department. Messrs. H.A.A. Junaid, AMI, MEC-E, T.C. Grillo, S.I. MEC-E, that's mechanical engineer, S.N.C. Ogbo, AMI, MEC-E, and N.N. Obinwa were put forward for the job in order of seniority, which went to N.N. Obinwa, who thus superseded Messrs. Junaid, Grillo, and Ogbo. Having failed to get this job, Messrs. Junaid and Grillo again tried for the post of production engineer, which, alas, was given to another child of the bedchamber by name SNC Ogbo, Ibo. He thus superseded Junaid and Grillo, both of whom have been senior assistant works managers since 1960. In 1962, Mr. Obinwa, who was made to supersede 3 senior officers for the post of works superintendent, was again appointed acting deputy chief mechanical engineer over another 3 senior officers, Messrs. B. Ajose Yoruba and T. I. Awoshika Yoruba. You see how Achebe was right with his meritocracy crap. A summary of the current staff list of the Nigerian Railway Corporation reviews the following facts. Now, this list is very long, so you're going to have to go read it yourself. It gives you the post of chairman, the ethnicity, Nahibu Fulam. It is in no way different from what happened with Onakulase. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I think it's Onoakulase. What they put out is the same thing. The post of chairman is held by an Igbo. The next powerful post, that of general manager, held by an Igbo. The 2 private secretaries are Igbo. Assistant general manager is an Easterner. Deputy assistant general manager, an Edo man. Private secretary attached to them is an Igbo. Senior labor relations officer, Igbo. There are 2 posts of senior establishment officer shared by another Igbo. There are 15 assistant establishment officers. Of the 15, 9 of them are Igbos. The only post of office superintendent is held by an Igbo. There are 3 senior stock verifiers, 2 are Igbos. There are 3 stock verifiers, 2 of them are Igbos. There's provision for 1 deputy secretary. It is held by an Igbo. You read it. Six are Igbos. Only health officer, of course, is Igbo. Hospital administrative secretary, Igbo. Only engineer in chief construction, Igbo. 2 technical instructors, both of them Igbos. 2 senior draftsmen, Igbo. Corporation War assistant architect, Igbo. Everything. Just domination. You can have and share. With a thief, a proper buffoon, your idea of growth is that you are just chopping, and what you are chopping is not your own. It's commonwealth. You chop it to the point where you will eat onjemonoyu. Everywhere you look, 21 traffic commercial officers, 12 are Igbo. The only wharf plant inspector is Igbo. Out of the 14 work supervisors, 9 of them are Igbos. Of the 32 works foremen, 20 are Igbos. How? There are 16 executive officers, 9 of them are Igbos. There are 2 senior officers, and they are both Igbos. There are 5 district controllers of stores, 3 of whom are Igbos. There are 10 assistant controllers of stores, 5 of whom are Igbos. If you read this thing, it will just make you feel like, why? Not that you should not enjoy, you're a Nigerian, but why would you do this at the expense of others? In other words, your joy is predicated on the sadness of others. You have to make people mourn, not to feel good. This is demonic. There's nothing you can tell me. There's nothing. It's demonic. It's a work of demons. And so, dear brother, out of a grand total of 431 names on the current staff list of our railway corporation, 207 are Igbos and 161 belongs to other tribes. So I read earlier, 57 direct senior appointments made by the Nigerian Railway Corporation during the tenure of office of the present chairman, Dr. Kejani. 27 Igbos, 8 other tribes, 22 expatriates. Someone says winner takes all. Yeah. If you ever come from a culture that is winner takes all culture, you are primitive. Very. You've not learned the beauty of give and take. Even when you win. And in this case, you didn't win because you didn't compete for anything. You just found yourself there. True nepotism, so. If the funny thing is that the person who was even putting all of these people there, who actually started putting them there, go there because he didn't want to go to prison. Someone says top to bottom. Yeah, top to bottom. He got there because Zeke would have gone to prison. He didn't go to prison, so he's there to work with the North. As soon as he got there with the North, he just had to funnel, just began to put his people everywhere. Igbo. This is not the end of the railway story of tribalism. We hope you remember the disgusting case of Njoku, the brother of the Minister of Transport, under whose portfolio is the railway corporation? You don't? Well, the minister's brother joined the Nigerian Railways as a messenger and retired as a messenger. We woke up one morning only to discover that the Njoku, the retired railway messenger, had been appointed member of the board of the railway corporation. And soon after, he became chairman of a staff selection committee and a registered railway contractor. Tell me his qualification. Definitely not messenger. It has to be ethnicity. Was Igbo. There's only one case of one Okere. There's also one case of one Okere, Okere, I don't know how to pronounce his name, who is cousin to Dr. Ekejani. The record shows that this man had only class 4 certificate. He was a clerk in the accounts branch of the railway. We know you will be staggered to hear that this fellow is now the Railway Corporation's representative in London. 3 Yorubas who are qualified secretaries are skipped over for the chairman's cousin. George O. Ye Gods, the horror is not ended yet. Do you know that in addition to being chairman of the Railway Corporation, Dr. Ekejani is also pathological consultant, call him pathological liar, whatever. Anyway, he's also pathological consultant to the corporation at an additional salary of £1,500 per annum. Apart from being the Oga of the Railway Corporation, you don't have another person that can be a pathological consultant. You can't take that job again to collect another £1,500 per annum. As per Dangote, see they find money. You know, everybody needs more money. Praise God. So far, there have been 4 corporation representatives in the United Kingdom. So far, there have been 4 corporations in the there have been 4 corporation representatives in the United Kingdom. All 4 have been Ibos. Mr. Egbuna, Mr. Egwatu, Mr. Mmegwa, and Mr. Okeke. Let's see what the picture looks like in the Port Authority, which is also within the portfolio of Mr. Raymond Njoku, Minister of Transport, and member for Owerri. The first thing that strikes one in this department is that, barring the chairman and the general manager, the first 25 topmost officers are all Ibos. The chairman is a Northerner, the general manager is a Sierra Leonean, and the secretary of the board is Yoruba. The 1963 staff list of the Port Authority reveals that the acting personnel secretary is Igbo, the charges officer is Igbo, the only senior executive officer is Igbo, 2 executive officers are Igbo, the only assistant executive officer is Igbo, chief clerks are all Igbos, only acting senior establishment officer Igbo, 4 chief clerks Igbos, only training officer Igbo, 2 chief labor relations officer Igbo, everything, port engineer, deputy chief engineers, chief engineer, labor establishment, everybody. Out of a total of 104 posts in the Nigerian Ports Authority, 73. It's you. Out of a total 104 top posts in the Nigerian Ports Authority, 73 are Ibos, 23 Yorubas, and the remaining 8 belong to other groups. That is about 70% of the total are Ibos, 22% Yorubas, and 7% others. By the way, the major ports, of course, were Yoruba land. 70% were Ibos. That's what Achebe called meritocracy. And that what we are doing now is what? Mediocrity. Even though the woman that was earlier had 811 from Anambra State, 65 from Enugu, 1 from Bayelsa, 1 from Lagos, 1 Nigeria. How can you have 73 out of 104? Are you a thief? It's not even your land. Ha! What kind of primitive thinking is that? People are having a great time in the comment section on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. Listening to Akintola yesterday, said they are funneling the money from the federal government to their region because they were the ones in charge. But let's even leave politics out of it. Federal civil service, 70% in Port Authority, and there's no single port, no single drop of water called ocean in Igbo land. And then you say what Sadana was saying was wrong. Now, let's have a look at the Yaba Technical Institute. That's what we now call Yaba Tech. And see what the picture portrays. Are you ready? Of a total of 29 indigenous senior members of the staff, 21 are Ibos and 8 Yorubas. The minister in charge of the institution is, of course, Ibo. You go to Yaba Tech, 21 Ibos and 8 Yorubas. Why? Are you cursed with primitiveness? What kind of rubbish is this? Yaba Tech. We shall in due course furnish you with a detailed picture of the very disquieting situation in the Ibadan University and the Ibadan Teaching Hospital, where 2 gentlemen in charge are of Eastern origin. I heard some things about him. My mentor was telling me things about UCH back in the day. I was like, we're working on something. I'll read those things out. People are demonic. It takes the grace of God to still love everyone regardless of this past. I know the crazy part. It's not that it's in the past. It's that it's still happening. That's the sad part. It's easy to forgive the past, like wrongs past now, forgive and forget. You can't forget because you'll be stupid to forget. They'll repeat it in case they repeat. This was even in the past. It's still happening. And they'll tell you exactly what Achebe said. You are tribalist. That's what the man said yesterday. He still posted some things today, alluding to the fact that the rest of you who are against what he's doing, you are just tribalists and you are not thinking of one Nigeria. Just a bunch of clowns. So you are the one thinking of one Nigeria by furnishing, filling the entire place with your people. Yabatek of 21 are Ibos and 8 Yoruba in Yoruba land. We changed this thing back then, Shao. It will change again. When we changed it, that was when Achebe began to cry and write rubbish. He started by writing one book in 1983 called The Trouble with Nigeria. They always seen trouble with everywhere. Then he wrote this last one before he died, and he was still crying. We'll do it again. Strategically, with like very wonderful thing. But whenever you wake up, is your morning. We shall in due course furnish you with a detailed picture of the very disquieting situation in the Ibadan University and the Ibadan Teaching Hospital, where the 2 gentlemen in charge are of Eastern origin. We have been discussing corporations and institutions, but what about scholarship awards? This particular sphere is highly deplorable and grossly unfair to the Yorubas. Admission of children into free primary schools in Lagos is another example where the indigenous Lagosians are tendenciously discriminated against. Now, the Nigerian Airways, the chairman is Ibo. Before his appointment, he was deputy chairman of the corporation, a post authorized and recognized by the Minister of Transport, who is an Ibo. His predecessor in office was a Yoruba man, and in accordance with equality of distribution of office, one would have thought a Yoruba man would have been appointed to fill his vacancy or the post of his deputy. But since Chief Dafe was chairman, the chief backed by the minister has not only refused to fill the post, but he has abolished it. Please tap on TikTok. If you're not going to fill it with our own people, we're going to abolish it. In London, there's a fellow named S.A.O. Dafe, appointed only about a year ago. He's now assistant London representative. He's brother to the corporation's chairman. Apart from that, his only qualification is a standard 4 certificate. He's on a salary of £990 plus, £520 house allowance, and £100 garage allowance. There are 2 officers responsible for processing applications for employment in the airways. They are both Yeah. 2 officers responsible for processing applications for employment, and both of them are Ibos. You see, you get a job, you are joking. Get job where? A Yoruba man, Mr. W.I. Oshinaga, was recommended by his immediate heads of department for increment. This was turned down by the board for no assignable reasons. The same fate befell 4 other Yorubas. 7 Ibos were promoted by the corporation to senior positions carrying emoluments of £860 per annum against the departmental heads' recommendations. In August this year, there was a total of 15 promotions to senior service grade. 11 went to Ibos, 3 to Yorubas, and 1 to the Midwest. Orepo, I'll advise you to get this book. He talked about cargo supervisor. They made sure an Igbo person was the one in charge. There was a man called Mr. S. Ishatayo. Was a cargo supervisor who was engaged in 1944. He's still in the junior service in 1964, after 20 years, even though he has trained most of the Igbos already promoted to senior staff in the airways. Another Yoruba man, Mr. S. Tatoye, cargo supervisor who was engaged in 1951, is still in the junior service. In the reservations and sales department, 3 Yorubas, M. Ibalogun, A. Bilashekan, and M. Giwa, were superseded by Ibos. In the operations department, Mr. E.S.N. Ofo, an Igbo, who is now senior officer operations officer on £1,500, was engaged in 1955 with broken service and promoted senior staff in 1962. He has superseded Mr. A. Uwakiwumi, a Yoruba with continuous service, who was engaged in 1949, and now operations officer, still at £890 per annum. You find the same story in the catering department, even in kitchen. In catering department, there's a Yoruba man who had gone to school in England. He had gone to reputable catering institutions in England. They turned him down and got Mr. J.E. Mbamali, who possessed a secondary middle 3 and was, until his appointment, a steward at the Nigerian hotel at Kano. They took him and dropped Mr. Ifeso. Who told you to go to school in England to go and be learning catering? The Swiss Air wrote concerning Mr. Mbamali when being sponsored for training as follows. This is what they wrote, the sponsors. They said, considering that Mr. Mbamali has shown very little experience in catering, we propose to give him the same training as we give your junior staff. But Mr. Mbamali was appointed to senior staff on £1,315 per annum straight. Even if we do junior staff work, they make us senior. The person will go to England, go study something. Say, go see that somewhere. Waiting concern catching for England. Say you go to school. Who ask you, make you go? In the engineering department, Messrs. FIC Akpapuna and MEJ were both Ibos. Sorry, in the engineering department, Messrs. FIC Akpapuna and MEJ, both Ibos on senior staff, have been made to supersede Messrs. A. Davis and A. Bangboshe, both Yoruba, still on junior services with ARB approved license on F27, while both Akpanam and EJ have no such qualifications. They have qualifications, though. They were able now. Accounts department, the same thing, right? There was Mr. Eboda, who was sent to the BOAC for training with a view to taking over from the expatriate chief cashier. On completion of his training, he was sent to Kano to resume duty against the advice of the officials in order to make way for Mr. Enemoko, who was the following few Igbos supersede Mr. A. Lawal, a Yoruba engaged in 1944 with Class 4 and 8 years teaching experience. Mr. J. Everett, I.A. Izegbo, F.A. Awachuku, and L.C. Enemoko. There are 7 Igbos in the Secretary's office. The Secretary, Mr. B.S.C. Nzenwa, is of course an Igbo. He was called to the bar in 1959. He was appointed in preference to 3 better qualified Yoruba candidates. Mr. Shita Bey, who holds the LLM degree and qualified in 1959, Mr. C. Shonukon, who was called to the bar in 1955, and Mr. F. O. Blaze, who qualified in 1943. Mr. Ezenwa was in 1962 on appointment, originally paid a £2,075. He is now on a salary of £3,100 from September same year, which was also made retrospective to the date of his appointment. In catering, even in ordinary post company, like betting company that Nigeria had at the time, we called it Nigeria Post Company. Even that one, they made sure that the board of directors, of the 7 board of directors, 4 are Easterners, including Mr. Ugochukwu, who was the chairman, 2 Northerners and 1 Midwesterners. When it came to ambassadorial appointment, Yorubas have not been fairly dealt with. So far, there are 9 Igbo ambassadors posted to countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and America. Then you have 3 Yorubas, 4 Northerners, and 2 Midwesterners. It's a pattern, isn't it? We Yorubas, I'm going to go to but let me read some of the things they said, what the demands were, and the conclusion, and I'll tell you what we should do. We therefore demand that those people, irrespective of group of origin, who have been unjustifiably made to supersede their seniors should be downgraded to their right place in the service hierarchy. Number 2, that those who, irrespective of group of origin, have been unjustifiably superseded by their juniors should be raised to their right place in the service hierarchy. Number 3, that Dr. Ikejani and Chief Dafe should be removed forthwith from the chairmanships of the Nigerian Railway Corporation and the Nigerian Airway Corporation, respectively. Number 4, that those officers who are due for promotion but who are deliberately made to mark time until an Igbo man is discovered, who will be promoted to fill the higher office, should be promoted immediately to fill such offices. In other words, you have Yoruba person who enter, say no, we go wait till you get under Igbo man. So put that Yoruba up fast. We Yorubas of the NCNC, again, this is from their own group. We Yorubas of the NCNC refuse to stand by and see our people in the services and corporations unjustly and unreasonably superseded by persons less qualified, either educationally or by length of service and experience. We refuse to allow arch-tribalists within the party to bring the party into shame and disrepute and throw our people out of the scheme of Nigerian progress by denying them of offices for which they are better qualified than those appointed. We shall fail in our duty to the party if we condone the destruction of the very tenets that we have made. If we condone the destruction of the very tenets that have made the NCNC what it is. We shall be condemned by history and our descendants if we look on whilst their future is being destroyed. Our very memory shall be hated if we fail to stand up by the principles of our party and rise up to destroy this tribalist cankerworm, which is fast destroying the party and the unity of the party. How does this one take concern you as Yoruba in 2026? Thank you for asking. Whilst it's okay to have different ethnicities and different people live in Yoruba land and thrive, as we've been used to that for more than 1,000 years, we welcome people. We're cosmopolitan. We have cosmopolitan spaces. We are very cosmopolitan people. We are city people. We have many cities that we built even before the British arrived. So we've always had different people from different ethnicities join us. What we do not condone is a people who are less, by all standards, move into Yoruba land and determine how Yoruba land should be run because of one Nigeria. That is not going to work. Even if there are more and there is none, they should not be determining how ancestral spaces are run. Now, when we open places up and we say, you know what, you can be part of what we're doing, you can join our politics, what we expect is that you are smart, that you're a human being, that you have enough basic common sense to know that you're supposed to be representing the land and the people living in the land, not the people from where you came from. Once you begin to represent the people from where you came from, we can tell that you should not have gotten the opportunity, which is why in the next elections, and I'm telling all of us right now, begin to talk to your family members, right? People should get their voters card. There's no like voter apathy. We're not going to vote to go and play football during elections. We are going to collect that card. Nobody is doing anything in Lagos who is not Yoruba. In Yoruba land, period. Unless you call about anybody, God just open the door, let all of us do Nigeria, we're all good. It's not going to happen again. Anybody that wants to flex their muscle, they should go back to their father's house. They should go to their homeland. They should go and why? Is it because we hate them? I've told you, we've been having people represent different in Yoruba land since the 1940s. We had Ernest Ekoli in 1941. He was Ijo. We had Bono Dike as deputy mayor of Lagos in the 1950s. We had this same Azikiwe in 1951. He won Lagos to represent Lagos in Ibadan. We had Ebube Dike in 1962. We had Tony Ngulu in House of Representatives before he tried to become governor of Imo State. That was this recent history. We've had several Ibos in Lagos State House of Assembly. It's not new. You're not the one that will teach us how to be cosmopolitan. What do you even know about it? We've done it. We've opened up. Question is, what have we gotten out of it? You are going to the point where you are telling us to our face that we don't know what we're doing. And we want to thank you. By the way, it's important to thank the Honorable representing Oshodi Solo constituency. You are far too kind. Thank you very much for this lesson. It's brilliant. Nobody could have done it better than you. This is wonderful, wonderful lesson. If we have to pay for, we've paid for the lesson already. In fact, we've paid more than tuition fees. So thank you very much. But we've learned the lesson. So what was the lesson now? Number one, we come and say we are all Libra. It's rubbish though. If you were paying attention, everything we read from the 1960s, even from the 1950s, not safe, everything, the 60s that we read, is the same thing that happened with Oshodi Solo constituency. It will not change. Don't pray for it to change. It's not necessary. It's the people that have to decide if they want to evolve or not. Listen, every culture is dynamic. There's no perfect culture. Even our own is not perfect. But what do? We notice something that's will make it better. There are some things in our past, right, that our fathers had to change. Because culture is dynamic. You don't say, that's how we were doing it. You're supposed to grow with time. It shows that you are a living, breathing organism. That you have the capacity to think. So you do better every generation. You're trying to do better. But if you have people who say they don't want to do better, it's okay. It's not my job to condemn you, but it's my job to ensure that your stagnancy is not allowed to infect. Because it's contagious. We don't want you to come and we don't want to contract whatever it is that you have. Just carry your one-on-one away. So you want to develop wherever you come from. With all due respect, no hate to anybody. If you're a person, you have a problem with what I'm saying right now, you are dumb. There is no two ways about it. I'm not even mincing words. You are very dumb. Because what's happening is you are saying, and by the way, again, I'm not saying close the door to everybody. I think it's great to have different people, but there are certain cultures where they assume that inclusivity means domination. Where they think that the fact that you are even being inclusive means you are stupid. Inclusivity on your part is stupidity. Inclusivity on their part is domination. And if they're not allowed to dominate, then you are a tribalist. Such people, don't try to change them. You are not God. You're not the Holy Spirit. You don't have any job to change anybody's life or change anybody's mind. Your job is to understand people and deal with them based on who they are. I said something yesterday. I'm going to say it as we close today. If you are dating a person, when you start dating, naturally, you're going to love the person based on who you are or what you think they will like. You see, based on what you think, it's subjective to you. Who you are or what you think they will like. So you are doing it based on your subjective reasoning. After a while, if you notice that what you are doing is not being appreciated, you can go around and be angry. Or you can chill and ask, what does this person like? And if you read a book called 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, he talked about 5 love languages in that book. If your woman or your man prefers quality time, and you're spending money, and you're overworking yourself, buying cars, buying gifts, they will say thank you, but they will not appreciate it like they will appreciate you spending time with them. What I mean means basically is that you learn from them how they want to be loved, then you love them that way. There are certain people in Nigeria that the way you are playing your politics as Yoruba people is not how they want to play it, how they think it should be played. As far as they are concerned, you're a stupid person for opening your doors the way you are doing. As a matter of fact, you're very foolish. Because as far as they are concerned, politics should be guarded. They guard it with metals. That's why you have videos where an Igbo person will say somebody from another part of Igbo land can never become anything in their land. And he said that even God will forbid it. I'll play you that video as we wrap up now. Take a listen. No. You're going to listen to this, please. Hold on, please. A fellow Igbo man is doing a video. He's not even saying that the person they're talking about is from another place. So he's saying the person's grandfather. Haba. Grandfather was. Take a listen to this.
The great-great-grandfather is from Eza. He's from Ebonyi. They settled at Owo. And today somebody will tell me, they have to come, Kadoma. When you bring somebody from Ebonyi to come and be the governor of Enugu State, God will not allow that.
He says, it's great. It's not even about the outcome of the elections. It's the mindset. His great-great-grandfather. It's not even his grandfather. Great-great-grandfather tells me something. That will be before Nigeria now. Be himself, his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his great-great-grandfather. That's like 5 generations, Abi. He never reached, maybe become indigenous. But you want to become indigenous on other people's places. They understand how to guard their spaces. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that with those people, you deal with them based on their politics. You don't leave your space open, because when they get in there, they will do to you what they would have done when they're at home. And you will be the victim in your own land. You just be crying. So in order not to cry, by the way, the proper response to what's happening on Twitter with the Honorable from Oshodi Solo, the proper way to react is that, number one, political parties have to be serious. I see a lot of people now advertising, especially in that constituency. A lot of Yoruba folks in APC, they're now advertising, they are putting themselves out. That's beautiful. That's very good. I'm not going to mention the names. I'm not paid for that. So, that's Trisha, they can pay me, I'll advertise for them. The point is, it's good. Put your own people there. Look for the best of your people who can do the job. Put them there. And number 2, the rest of us, got to get your voter's card. Vote. And don't go and play ball on elections day. Go out on election day. Don't go and play ball. Go and vote. Talk to your family members in different parts of Yoruba land, Nigeria. They've got to be part of the process, okay? And this should never happen again in Yoruba land. We've got to do everything to make sure it never happens again. And I'm very happy that this man did what he did. I think it's brilliant, even though it doesn't look very good, but I think it's nice. And if you're a Yoruba person, if your people are doing something you don't like, your politicians are doing something you hate, vote them out. But don't cut your nose to spite your face. Don't put people that will now disempower. I mean, what's the word now? The word's not disempower. Is it disempower? That will now take everything away from you. You are giving them the power because you hate, I don't like the guts of this person. I don't want APC. If you don't like APC, look for another party or somebody that has sense to vote. By the way, APC is winning Lagos and Federal Capital Territory, and Nigeria presidency by the grace of God, because we need that blueprint to continue. We don't want anybody that will, thank you for the word, disenfranchised. That's what I was looking for. We don't want anybody that will come and scatter the plan. We already have a blueprint we're working with, all right? But the point is, even if you don't like something, look for someone else that you think is better, but it has to be somebody who actually cares for the land. That's my goal. If you notice, it's not so much about the ethnicity of the person, even though that's important. It's actually because you know that these people don't care about the land. If you get there, imagine that LP actually won top to bottom, and GRV was in Alausa. You just get to Alausa to do anything. Talk about Keduba, you're a tribalist. Kedu Odima. The entire place will be filled. That's when you remember what it really means to be in a quote-unquote cosmopolitan space. Let's be wise. protect your space. And self-preservation is not hate. You don't have to hate anybody. It's not a hate. It's just like being a soldier in the army. The soldier who carries a gun goes to war to fight. He doesn't hate his enemies. He doesn't hate the enemy country. The soldiers are not necessarily his enemies. It's the country that's the enemy. But because the soldiers are carrying guns to come and kill him or take his own territory, he has to kill them. And he's not killing them. He's not murder. He's not murder. You don't say the soldier has committed murder, but he has killed many people. But it's not murder. As a matter of fact, a chaplain will go there with him, carry gun, pray for them in the name of Jesus, and still kill the other people. It's war. There's a particular quote. It's from Mao Zedong. Politics is war without bloodshed, while war is politics with bloodshed. Mao Zedong said, politics is war without bloodshed, while war is politics with bloodshed. It's war. Politics is war. Don't let anybody deceive you. It's just without bloodshed. And there doesn't have to be we don't have to have violence. You don't have to fight anybody. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to chase anybody away. You position yourself and you re-engineer society. You re-engineer society and inclusivity. Would you include that? By the way, some of the when this guy got under fire, he started saying that he did road, he did something, only for us to discover now that it was actually Lagos State Public Trust Corporation that fixed the roads that he's taking credit for. The same honorable from Oshodi Solo. Jubri Gawat, who works for the state government, was the senior special assistant on new media to Governor Jide Sanwo-Olu. He now had to put out a statement that the road in question was done by the Lagos State Public Works Corporation. That's the machine in the video. After interventions by state officials under Mr. Governor and the assembly member in the area, and this man is saying he put out a video saying for those residing in Community Road Ago, this was the day the road was rehabilitated after years of prolonged neglection. Okay, Joe is okay. You didn't have anything to do with it. Meanwhile, I'll read something before we talk about the Agege and then we'll close. If we look at the Ramola put out a statement a while back when somebody said something to her, I think it was on Instagram. It says, so who was dragging land with Yorubas? Did we have any Igbo aspirant? You guys shamelessly instigated a war between tribes with idiotic and delusional narratives just for your party to win, and still terrorize, beat up voters, infringe on people's rights. It should be clear to you that people, either Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, will vote for who they want. You forget you have children. You don't know where they will end up. May God reward you according to the works of your hand. If we look at now respond, that take a listen to this. It says, Mulak, take your time, don't insult me on my page. And I say a big amen to your prayers. God will reward me according to the work of my hands. I know Gbadebo very well. My husband gave him that ticket. And what did he do? What did he do next? He removed he's talking about GRV. He removed my husband and the Labour Party chairman because he's not Igbo. And all the Yoruba House of Assembly, he took their tickets to put Igbo there. And you dare come to my page to insult me? Let's be guided, I beg. You give some people a foot, they take a yard. If you're not careful, it's a mile. And goodies from Agege, the chairman of the local government says, we are proud to sponsor 18 young residents of Agege for skill acquisition programs at the Lagos State Cooperative College as part of our commitment to youth empowerment and economic development. And the beneficiaries will receive training in key vocational and technical fields, including electrical installation, plumbing and pipe fitting, welding and fabrication, computer science, and cooperative economics and management. So he put out a statement, put out their names, right? And the people started talking about the names. So people say, oh, that's really good. They're all Yoruba. And the chairman was like, no, there's no tribal sentiments. They were the people who showed up to get registered. And everyone just said all kinds of things. And then somebody said, I didn't know other tribes. Nepotism have killed Yoruba people. In fact, he used the word Yoruba. I don't know why they use that. It's because they're dull. So nepotism have killed Yoruba people. If this is nepotism, let's continue like that. Protect your space. Love to all, malice to none. but self-preservation is very key. Okay, you take care of yours. Even Bible says that you should help everybody, particularly, especially those of the household of faith. You are committed first to those inside. Charity begins at home before you now start thinking about helping others. Don't open your house fully. Now I show out. Thank you very much for listening to that. That was how Ibos hijacked the Federal Civil Service, and that goes back to 1964. And I said it that the sad thing, really, about Nigerian history is that the past and present seem so much alike, such that when you're listening to the news or watching or reading, essentially it's as though you're experiencing deja vu. And I'm going to play you an example of deja vu. This happened not too long ago, and it's about a federal institution domiciled in Anambra State. We talked about this earlier, but I think I should play it in this video as well. Please take a listen.
Oyo State.
Okay, so
Zero.
we don't have
You don't have. How many are from Ekiti State?
Ekiti is
Two. How many are from Enugu?
Enugu 65.
How many are from Cross River?
1, sir.
One.
Yes, sir.
How many are from Bauchi?
Kwara. Kwara is 2.
Two.
Yes, sir.
And how many are from Kano?
We have one person from.
One person from Kano.
Yes, sir.
And how many are from Anambra State?
Because it is domiciled. Yes, sir.
And how many are from Bayelsa?
How many? 1.
Eh?
1, sir.
One.
Yes, sir.
And madam, you say you have tried.
No, aside, I didn't meet all this number.
So that happened recently, and of course, you know the news of what happened last week with the lawmaker representing Oshodi constituency, who happens to be Igbo, and true to form, he decided to fill the entire space with his people. So whether you look at the 1960s or you're looking at recent history, what you're going to see will be the same thing. It's a people whose idea of fairness is domination. And I look in the comment section here, someone says, I said it, once Ibos don't dominate, they will be shouting marginalization. One of the things I've learned studying Nigerian history is that words mean different things to different ethnic groups in Nigeria. So you could be saying the exact same thing. I mean, you would assume you're saying the exact same thing because you're using the exact same words, but in reality, you are talking different things. For instance, when you hear the word marginalization, what it means basically is that they're not allowed to dominate. And if you go back to books written by Achebe himself, whether it was the one he wrote in 1983, The Trouble with Nigeria, or the one he published before his death, There Was a Country, it's always about saying that they are superior to others and everybody's using mediocrity, they are using kiniko, and that they are marginalized. If that's marginalization, let it continue. Nobody's going to allow you to get into their spaces and dominate those spaces. But the question is, why do they do this? Why do they fill entire parastatals and institutions with Igbo people? Like the old man said, 811. How on earth do you recruit less than 1,000 people, just about 900 thereabout, and 811 are from one state? I said in the other video, forget about Yoruba people for a second, right? I mean, let's say that Yoruba people don't want to go to Anambra State. Okay. Are you saying that Abia State can't be represented? How about Imo? How about Ebonyi? And to make it work, I mean, Enugu had 65, which is a breakthrough, but 811. You see, I went to school in Ife. In my school, there are people of different ethnicities. And it wasn't like most of them working in OAU were Ife people, even though the school was in Ife. Of course, there were Ife people. There are Ife people working in those schools, a lot of them. But there are people from Ekiti. There are Ekiti people there. There are Jesha people there. There are even Igbo people there. Even if you want to show that, you don't want other ethnicities, how about your own ethnic group? Are you saying you can't even allow people from neighboring states to take 811 out of less than 1,000? It's the same people that then move all around the country lecturing you about what cosmopolitanism means and how it is that it's very good for you to open your doors. They're not saying that because you don't know what you're doing. They're saying that because they know what they are doing. The idea basically is to enter your space and take over the place. We've got to make sure that doesn't happen. But here's the question: why do they do that? It's important to know. Again, know your neighbor. Why do they do this? I'm going to read a book written by Professor Akinjide Oshuntokun. The book is Esaluke Akintola, His Life and Times. I'll read something here that I think answers that question. By the early 1900s, there were Yoruba lawyers, doctors, and other Western educated men, some of whom were indigenous Yoruba, others the children of repatriated slaves from the New World, particularly Brazil and also from Sierra Leone. The point to note is that by dint of an earlier Christian proselytization, the Yoruba had a head start in the acquisition of Western education and all its consequences. Up to the 1920s, therefore, nationalist agitation for improvement in the African condition was led and completely dominated by the Yoruba and a few Efik and Ishekiri people. The Igbo did not become a factor in Nigerian nationalism until the arrival of Nnamdi Azikiwe in 1937 from America, where he had trained as a journalist and a political scientist. With his arrival in Nigeria and the founding of his newspaper business, Azikiwe was able to fire the imagination of his people and mobilize them to catch up with the Yoruba with regard to Western education. But unlike most of the Yoruba, this goal was sometimes achieved by a community effort. Members of certain villages or clans, please pay attention to this. Members of certain villages or clans usually collected money to send ambitious and brilliant young men to the United States or Britain I'm just going to take the entire sentence again. Members of certain villages or clans usually collected money to send ambitious and brilliant young men to the United States or Britain in search of the Golden Fleece. This practice, which was widespread in the eastern part of Nigeria, meant that when the young men returned to Nigeria after their studies, they would be obliged to return the favor of their own people, either by directly repaying the union that sent them, or by using their newly acquired status or position to somehow advance the cause of the clan or ethnic group. In a pluralist society such as Nigeria, this payment of an educational debt through favoritism and jobbery to one's own ethnic group was to exacerbate inter-ethnic rivalry, if not antagonism. What is the Turanchi that we are reading here? He's saying that Yoruba people have gotten the head start because of our early adoption of Christianity and Western education. All right. 1937 was when Zeke returned. Actually, he returned from Ghana. So, because when he left the United States, he moved to Ghana and worked in Ghana for a bit. When he returned, he began to fire up the imagination of his people. They went to read books and stuff. However, a lot of them had to go to school helped by communities. Now, that happened in other places, but it was prevalent in their own region. If you read about a man called Abyssinia Uwalfo Orizu, who eventually became the Senate president in the First Republic, what you discover about him, one of the issues he had in the 1950s was that the community had sent money to him, £32,000 that he embezzled. The money was actually meant to sponsor the Igbo kids who were going to school in the United States of America. But he swindled the money, and then, of course, he landed in prison. Was going to be there for 7 years before Azikiwe came in and then found a way to get him some pardon. Anyway, the point is, the idea of communities sending their own children to school in Igbo land was prevalent, which is good. What's bad is that thing becomes a debt to the child or to the young man or woman. And when that person returns to Nigeria, he's indebted to his community and he wants to pay them back. So how does he pay them back? It's not like he's going to get the money and give it back to them. For the most part, he has to work. It's not like he's going to get all the money immediately. So what he does is to ensure that other Ibos who have also, whether they went to school or not, safe, because in this, like what we read now, what we just read from the white paper, by the way, those who are asking what document it is, The document is a white paper on political alignment in Western Nigeria. If you go to Redomi Global, you will find that document. Okay, Redomi Global is spelled REDOMI. Right, it's a channel on Telegram. All right, so go to Telegram, go to Redomi Global, the learning section, learning material section. You find a white paper on the new political alignment in Western Nigeria. When you read that book, you see that report. You see how a messenger was made the chairman of the board of selection committee. He worked as a messenger in Nigerian corporation. He started as a messenger only to be brought in as chairman of board. How do you make a board member and chairman of selection committee? In other words, he recruit engineers. Now the messenger would question the engineer. Now, why, if you read the document, right, the tribunal of a mechanical engineer, what do you think say you go? What do you make you think say you go chop this post? The kind of ridiculous questions that people ask because they're not trained for it, and then you have nepotism at its worst. People just funneling using that place as a repository for Igbo people. Whether it was Nigerian Railway Authority or Nigerian Port Authority or Nigerian Airways or Yaba Tech or Nigerian Pools or catering services, everywhere was filled. Now, when you read Achebe wants you to believe that it was because of meritocracy. But when you read the report, and it's not just one, I read two documents. One was white paper, the other one was a tribunal of inquiry that was set up by the federal government. And all they discovered was nepotism at its worst. Not even of just top guys, so everywhere was filled with a particular ethnicity. The reason is not because they had education or they had the merit or whatever. The reason is because they were trying to pay back a debt they owed the community, and that's what we just read right now. I'll read it again just in case you didn't hear the first time. It says here. Members of certain villages or clans usually collected money to send ambitious and brilliant young men to the United States or Britain in search of the golden fleece. This practice, which was widespread in the eastern part of Nigeria, meant that when the young men returned to Nigeria after their studies, they would be obliged to return the favor of their own people, either by directly repaying the union that sent them or by using their newly acquired status or position to somehow advance the cause of the clan or ethnic group. Then it says, in a pluralist society such as Nigeria, this payment of an educational debt through favoritism and jobbery to one's own ethnic group was to exacerbate inter-ethnic rivalry, if not antagonism. So, your father's people raise money for you to go to school. Now you have gone and come back. All the jobs that belong to all Nigerians are given to Igbo people. And when they speak, you say, oh, they are just tribalists. Is this to tell you that, oh, see what happened in the past? No, I'm telling you that what happened in the past is happening today. And that's the only reason you can see somebody give 24 slots out of 29 slots in Oshodi Solo constituency in Lagos State. An Igbo man was given the opportunity to lead that constituency. He said to give 24 slots to Igbo people in Lagos State. You think it's about history? No, it's about culture. It's the culture of a people. It's a culture of domination. And I've said it before, I don't think Igbos are bad people. I just think that the intellectuals that arose in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s, they came up with a plan to essentially destroy the very fabric of Igbo society. Because when you read about what they were before their content, it wasn't like I always say, I don't like talking about Igbo history, personally, because if I do, it will sound like an insult. But here's the point. Whatever they came up with based on the education in the United States, particularly if you notice, many of them that went to school in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, they went to the US. Whatever they came up with, right, was something to dominate the people or dominate others and elevate their own people. And it started with Azikiwe. And we've had conversations here about it. If you're an Igbo person, there are certain things you do, you don't even know why you do it. I'm Yoruba. There are things we do, we don't even know why. I'll give an example. Every Yoruba person in this, under the sound of my voice right now, if you're older, right? If you're older, maybe you are 40 and above, your parents most likely you heard your parents say things like, I'm not going to give you, even if I don't give you anything, I'm going to give you education. Your parents could be buying houses and whatever, but will keep telling you, I'll give you education. I'll give you education. My father said that thing, but wasn't exclusive to my dad. Everybody I've met that's Yoruba will tell you the same thing. They will say education is the best legacy. Education on your gumbi, it doesn't mean they're not going to give you inheritance. My father passed and I got some good stuff, but it's beyond that. It's telling you about to pay omota koluma gbeleta kota. We're talking about education, but where's that thing from? It's from Awo. Do you have education before Awo? Of course. Shomumulaya wa to boshwamumulaya ansin tia Awolowo tiwawa. No. Our policy of free education changed the psyche of everybody. Yes, we were going to school, but not the way we started going to school after Papa. And it was in 1955. They were begging people to allow their children to go to school because people who were farmers, they needed their kids to help them in their farms. Our people would go out, education, they will go all over the villages and towns and talk to people, like let their children go to school. By the time they began to understand what education could give, everybody said, no, all my kids are going to school. And so we grew up listening to that. You may not think about it, but when you study a book like, there's a book, Our Unfinished Greatness by Olufemi Ogunsanwo. If you read that book, you get to a particular point, you begin to understand why certain things are the way they are in Yoruba land. At least as far as education is concerned, for instance. I'm using that as an example. Or even our understanding of politics as Yoruba people. It was Awo. You see, the thing is that there's already a culture that Awo built on. I don't want to say there was no culture in the Southeast. I'm just saying that there's certain things that they were introduced to. And they believed that the people that were talking to them knew everything. And so they took everything hook, line, and sinker. So things like, for instance, victimhood. We are the victim of everybody. Everybody hates us. That's not because you are hated. It's not even because you even understand what you are saying. You are literally repeating Azikiwe's propaganda. It's said in the 1940s. When you have things like, we are better than everybody, that one said in 1938. Those things were introduced into Igbo culture to the point where you can't even have simple conversations with people without people telling you that I have bigger shoes than you. I have anything. There's also comparisons. It comes from somewhere. And I mentioned the other day that if you read Richard's, if you read Richard's constitution, sorry, I said constitution, the Governor General of Nigeria at the time was Arthur Richards. He wrote an article. It was a speech actually that he delivered January 1947. It was a meeting of the colonial officers. And he talked about how the East was always clamoring for more and more, although they contributed the least. If you compare that with Azikiwe's speech of 1949, he said they had contributed so much, they're using their money to take care of others. And then you wonder, what exactly were you producing that they were using to take care of other people? Nothing. Oh, they're paying tax. They're not. Meanwhile, the government is saying you are paying the least. We're using other people's money to subsidize your region. It's not different from what's happening today. I mean, there's a report of the VAT VAT revenue for January, February. Where should I say? You know what? Let me see if I can find it for you. It's the same thing as it was in the beginning. So it is today. I hope it doesn't remain that way, Sha. And instead of people to see how they can make things better at home, no, they will go everywhere trying to tell you how they are one Nigeria and you must collect something from them and you also have something to say. Just absolute rubbish. I'll find it for you guys. I want to read you the VAT data for February of 2026. The Southwest contributed 252.78 billion naira. Changbo, 252.78 billion naira. We received only 36.17%. We received 91.44 billion. This is 1 month though. South contributed 164.81 billion. They received 70.7%. Sorry, 70.7 billion. That's about 42%, 42.9%. The North Central contributed 36.2 billion naira. They received 49, so they got 136.17%, much more than, at least a bit more than what they contributed. Northwest contributed 30.74 billion naira. They received 55.75 billion naira. So they got 181.37%. The Northeast contributed. Northeast is where you have Boko Haram. Okay? There are people always insulting them. Okay. Northeast contributed 19.75 billion and received 40.76 billion. So they got 206.44% of what they contributed. Well, the Southeast contributed 7.95 billion. That's about 12 billion less than Sambisa Forest, 12 billion less than Northeast. The Southeast contributed 7.95 billion and got 32.56 billion. Guess what percentage that is? 409.46%. It is people from this place that will teach you about how Nigeria can progress. It's the same thing like what Arthur Richard said in 1947. They contributed the least, but they clamored for more and more of everything. 7 billion naira, the entire region, and Southwest was 252.78 billion naira. Yet the one that has 7 is saying to one 252 how to run government. And you can't talk and you tell the person, why not fix your home? You're a tribalist. How would you tell me to fix my home? I should be able to tell you how to do things, even though I don't know how to do jack. Listen, it's important for people to understand this simple saying, charity begins at home. There is no perfect home anywhere. And I say it, and there's a reason I keep saying that thing, because I don't want Yoruba people to also get this feeling of we are better than anybody. Listen, there's nobody to compare yourself with in Nigeria if you're a Yoruba person. There's no like, oh, I'm better than it. It's even that is just hubris, and it doesn't bring you growth or progress. If you're looking for people to compare yourself with as Yoruba people, look at, ethnic groups that have existed for thousands of years, like the Chinese. And when you compare Yoruba with China, you're like, oh boy, we've got work to do. That's the point. There's nothing like, oh, I'm better than anybody. It's if you feel you're better than any ethnic group in Nigeria, you have not started. Like, there's nothing, your mates are not around here. So I always mention that because I don't want us to also feel like there's nothing like better than anybody. But here's the point. It is not the person making 7 billion per month that will be telling the person making 252 billion how to run his life or run his space. And to say that doesn't mean I am a bigot. It just means I can think. And I believe everybody under the sound of my voice can think as well. So please, let us think. And don't let anybody to gaslight you with one Nigeria. One Nigeria is one Nigeria, boys. Nobody you go can't teach me how one Nigeria go be. There's one more book I want to read before. And please, if you'd like to speak, please feel free to send your request. I'll bring you up momentarily. But there's a book I would really want to read. I haven't opened it, so if you don't mind, I would need a second to find the page. It's Sunset, yes. The book is Sunset in Biafra, and it's by Lechi Amadi. Lechi Amadi was an writer. By the way, the book is a fantastic resource. So if you can get it, I think it should be something that you would like. By the way, just by the way of announcement, by way of announcement. Okay, so if you want to see details of the things we read earlier, kindly go to Redomi Global. Please go to Redomi Global, okay? On Telegram, and you find white paper on the new political alignment in Western Nigeria. You see the details of, how people just took over spaces across the country and how they then sort of gaslighting the rest of us with, we are one Nigeria. It's not going to work again, by the way. We'll make sure it doesn't work again. But again, like I always say, this is not because, oh, you hate Kinikon, oh, you hate, that's not, there's no it here. We're just trying to make sure that we're not, shortchanging ourselves in a complex country, or like the writer said, a pluralistic society like Nigeria. I want to read something to you from Sunset in Biafra. Please take a listen to this. Some 30 years ago, by the way, this book was written early 1970s. Okay, so this would mean 30 years ago was in the 1940s. You know what? Let me look for. I think it's 73. I want to be exact. Give me a second. Let me find you the. Let me go to the front page. I'll find the exact date of publication. I think it's 73. What did I do? Marisha, Timbatiri Masofuni. By the way, I apologize to folks. So, if you've noticed, I do a lot of code mixing. Sincerely, it's not because I'm trying to exclude you. It's just how I speak. I was at a conference some weeks ago. I was not trying to correct myself because the people, not everybody could understand. Okay, so what page is that? Forward. Okay, it was in 1973. I was right. It was in 1973. Okay, so let me read this to you, and then please make of it whatever you want. Some 30 years ago, the Ibos began to move in to trade in the riverine areas. By the way, Ikwere, that means river state. So you see groups like, but let me go back just a bit so you see, we can create congruence. The tribes in the present river state are more numerous, smaller, and weaker politically. They are Ijo, Kalabari, Okrika, Ogoni, Eche, Ekpeye, Engeni, Abwa, Ogba, Egbema, and Ikwere, to which I belong. Perhaps difficulties in communication in riverine areas gave rise to these numerous distinct tribal groups. In the river state, Kalabari, Ijo, and Okrika have a common linguistic root. Ogoni is distinct, and so is Abwa, though the latter has a few links with the Ijo group of languages. The languages of the other tribes have gained a common root. Some 30 years ago, the Ibos began to move in to trade in the riverine areas. Eventually, many settled, and so when it says 30 years ago, it's talking about the 1940s. This is not ancient migration. It's like 30 years ago, okay? Some 30 years ago, the Ibos began to move in to trade in the riverine areas. Eventually, many settled, and by sheer force of numbers began to dominate the smaller tribes. Igbo came to be so widely used that certain tribes practically lost their mother tongue. It is a fact that one or two riverine tribes can hardly speak their own language now and have to make do with a peculiar Igbo pidgin, highly amusing to the Igbos. By the way, this book was published in 73. IBO, not Kosibel. Igbo. In fact, we're using Igbo as language, then Igbo as people. But I'm sure we'll understand. All right, let me read that part again. It is a fact that one or two riverine tribes can hardly speak their own language now and have to make do with a peculiar Igbo pidgin, highly amusing to the Igbos. A determined effort is now being made to remedy the situation. In some areas, this cultural imposition was very pronounced. Igbo was officially taught and spoken in schools. It could hardly be otherwise, since most of the teachers were Igbos. Gradually, many local languages were eroded. As the Bible had not been translated into the minority languages, the Igbo Bible and prayer books were used in schools and churches. I'll just stop to say something here. So back in the day, when the missionaries moved to a particular place, they'll look for the primary language, the most popular language. They'll translate the Bible into that language, okay? Because, of course, resources were limited. They had to be strategic. And so, for folks in Rivers area, because Igbos were many there, naturally, the language was becoming ubiquitous. Everybody was using it. And so when they were going to translate the Bible, the missionaries, they translated it into Igbo. And so everybody was reading Igbo Bible. They were also singing from Igbo songbooks and prayer books. As the Bible had not been translated into the minority languages, the Igbo Bible and prayer books were used in schools and churches. The question may now be asked, is there anything wrong with linguistic and cultural integration? My answer is nothing. The fewer languages there are in the world, the better. In fact, the ideal would be to have one universal language. However, cultural domination in Nigeria also implied political and economic domination. This is where I'm going now. cultural domination in Nigeria also implied political and economic domination. The smaller tribes were not aware of this fact until the 50s, when party or tribal government became established. Jobs, contracts, scholarships, and other privileges were awarded on a tribal basis. The bigger minority tribes like the Efiks, Ibos, and Thieves reacted by fighting to get a few of their men into key positions. These men took care of the rest as best they could. The people of Western Cameroon broke away under intense tribal pressure to join their relations on the other side of the border. For the smaller tribes, it was a nightmare. To get a good job, one had to pretend that one belonged to the big tribe, having of course learned the language as thoroughly as one could. Even so, at critical moments in one's career, such as on the eve of a really big promotion, detailed inquiries were made into tribal origins. The result of such inquiries sometimes determined one's fate, especially if the chief executive of the ministry or department was narrow-minded. The trend was the same all over the country. It is important to note that until very recent years, no tribes made any concerted efforts to dominate others or subject them to privations. People merely did best for their tribesmen, though in the process the smaller tribes suffered. For the smaller tribes, it was domination. For the bigger ones, it was progress. An application of the extended family system in a big way. You see, there's something we need to understand. You can't just leave your doors open. There are people now. This book, you hear cultural domination, political domination. There is no book. I can't even say I stand to be corrected. Let me just say, arguably, okay, there's no book that was written about Nigeria in the 1960s and 70s into the early 80s that did not use that word domination in relation to the Ibos. Here's the thing. That thing has not died. And I've said it before. Ideas don't die. Ideas are like energy. You repurpose them. If you don't repurpose them, they just keep growing like weed. It's already here. You now have to repurpose it. The energy behind it has to be diverted into something else if you discover that idea is bad. If not, people will keep doing it. They'll keep pursuing it. For instance, people still want to have Biafra. There's nothing sensible about the idea. I'm not even joking. You study there's never been anything sensible about the idea. There cannot be anything sensible about it, but people still want to have it. Why? It's an idea. I saw a video there. Somebody sent me a video yesterday. Maybe I'll respond to it tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to have a full session. We'll come on camera, the whole works and all that. Someone sent me a video, and the girl was saying, people tell Ibos to forget the past and move on. Nobody tells Igbo people to forget the past and move on in Nigeria, by the way. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but this is what I want to mention. I want to just say quickly. She said, that they went through the war, and there was no victor, no vanquished, and that they suffered through it, and so on and so forth. You see, if you get to a particular point, you tell your story and nobody will care. Why? Because your job, what you have been doing, is to weaponize that story to elicit certain responses. In other words, it's not about the pain. It's about the leverage you can get from regurgitating certain propaganda you've heard. You don't even know what you're talking about. Was there pain? Yes. Did people suffer? Yes. Should they be taken? Were they taken care of? Yes. Did they take care of the people that they hurt? No. We'll get into this tomorrow. Nigeria took care of Ibos. Was it perfect? Of course it wasn't. Nobody's going to come around and say, it was a perfect thing. It wasn't. The people that Ibos hurt, did they pay them back or do anything good for them to say, we are sorry? Never. Why am I saying that now? Because while they were dominating everywhere, they were just throwing their weight around. And you, as a Yoruba person, you assume that here we are all one Nigeria. That thing, that idea that was first enunciated by Charles Onyema in 1945 is still alive and well. And it's a shame that it's alive, but it's real. And what did he say in 1945? By the way, he made this statement in Lagos, was at the Lagos Highland Club. He said the Igbo domination of Nigeria is only a question of time. That simple statement caused riots that killed Ibos in the north in 1945. Whenever you hear they killed them in 1945, that was the reason. Does that statement justify people being killed? Of course not. But should you know why it happened so that you don't repeat the nonsense? You should. But people are not learning anything. They're still doing the same domination. It's not going to work. So Yoruba people, if people want to dominate, let them continue their dream. It will never come to pass until it becomes a nightmare for them. But your own space as a Yoruba person, protect your land and don't let anybody gaslight you. Thank you very much for listening to that. I'm going to bring some people up. But before I do so, I'll read some of the comments here from Facebook and YouTube. Muftau Adetoye Adeyemi said, I now know the true meaning of marginalization in Igbo parlance. Once the Igbos aren't given chance to dominate, then to the Igbos they are being marginalized. Thank you, sir. Alan Ross says on YouTube, that is called self-preservation. Absolutely. Prophet Kasali on Facebook says, we must wake up and protect our fatherland from uncultured invaders in Western region. House-to-house campaign must be initiated at CDA level to enlighten our people. Dangers of wicked people, stop them from advancing further. I like the fact that you didn't mention anything group. That was good. Thank you. But it's important to enlighten our people. Let's talk to ourselves. Like I said, this thing will begin. Sherry, it's better to judge than to war. Okay? As we are talking like this, let's educate ourselves, educate people. Elections are coming. I already told you 2 candidates that I'm rooting for. No, 3. That's the one I know for now. I know of Lagos State, Ogun State, and the presidency. Those ones are settled. I don't know about your states yet. And Oshun. The things I'm hearing from those places, we'll see, Sha. Anyway, I'm saying that to say that personally, I'm supporting President Tinubu. I'm supporting his re-election. In Lagos, I'm supporting Obafemi Hamzat. And in Ogun State, I'm supporting Yayi Adeola, Solomon Adeola. And I'm rooting for them. I'm looking forward to them winning. It will be really, really lovely to see them win. I think they have good ideas. I was in Laro. Was it last year? I think it was last year. I was in Laro. The kind of things you think he was a governor already. So we look forward to him, doing those things again. All right, let's have tribal list. No, I can't. 1 second. So there's someone who wants to come up, tribalistic animal. Why are you using this kind of name? It's on TikTok. Hello? Your name is something else. Are you there? All right, while we wait for the person, I'll just keep reading the comments on Facebook and YouTube. Mr. Mufta again says, I said it once, Ibos don't dominate, they will be... I said it once, Ibos don't dominate, they will be shouting marginalization. Now that is true. Prophet Kasali says, wherever they are in large numbers... 1 second, please. Okay. Prophet Kasali says, whenever they are in large numbers in Lagos, they shall scatter them and reduce their population diplomatically and strategically. Okay. George Abejide on YouTube says, fact is, more the more they put themselves in. The lost Southern Cameroon, lost the Southeast Ibos, lost the advantage in the civil war. It's true. The thing about South Cameroon, I think we already said earlier in the book by Lechi Amadi, those guys were frustrated out of Nigeria. And the crazy part, even when they were for living, in other words, When they want to stay, you frustrate them. When you decide to leave, you still, everybody will be all right, hopefully. And Anthony Dada on YouTube says, I really appreciate you for always talking facts, backing up whatever you say with evidence. God bless you. Amen. Thank you very much. God bless you too. All right. Let's see some folks on TikTok before we go, just to hear other people's voices. Omolomo on TikTok has a question. I was really surprised by Kwakwanso joining Ibos self-professed. I want to make it light brighter. Okay. He says, I was really surprised by Kwakwanso joining Ibos self-proclaimed saint. What do you think? I think it's politics. Kwakwanso wants to become president at some point, and that's like a path for him. Whether that would work in his favor is yet to be seen, but he's not. So here's the thing, right? Kwakwanso is supporting, Kwakwanso may be supporting P2B, but he's definitely, right, because of his ethnicity, which is why some people got over 90% in some states in Nigeria. Happened only in the southeast, by the way, then call everybody tribalist. Some people like you because of what they can get from you. People have different reasons. Of course, Obi is not a saint to Kwakwanso or a messiah. He's not looking at him like that, but he's looking at him like a pathway into whatever ambition that he has, or the fulfillment of his own ambition. So I think it's fair. It's politics. I wish them all the best, but the best will never be good enough. Tinubu has to win by God's grace. Omolomo says he's a very clever man. I wasn't expecting that move. It may cause problems in the long run. It's not going to cause any problem. He's a politician now, Abba. See, you may not like Obi. That doesn't mean that others will think of him the way. My perception of Obi will never be the same perception that Kwakwanso has. He's an active player. He's trying to become something in 2031. Think about it. What you mean is Obi, although that one, I don't know what Obi is promising everybody that he's going to be president for one term. I'm not holding my breath. Number one, not going to win. Number two, say it does. If he wins, no, I don't want to use the example because I don't want to say if, because it could possibility of is Shelley. But here's the point from Kwakwanso's side. Lock on tear. By 2031, whether he wins or not, nobody will say Kwakwanso was selfish. Nobody would say, when he had the opportunity to allow somebody else, he insisted. Like people say of article today, the party has come up with. So even if you change your party, they will ask when you were in the other one, like what's following Obi all over the place now. Obi is, I guess it can't win. Anyway, the point is that for Kwakwanso, even if he changes the party, I think it's a very strategic move because there's nothing that will make Kwakwanso president in 2027. Nothing. He knows that Tinubu will win. But you see, right now, in the future, every time you talk about, what's the word now of a win-win situation, or of a person who thinks of the other person, right, or thinks of the other party during negotiation, you're going to think of Kwakwanso. In other words, it's not the kind of person who says that is that presidency or nothing. Like what obedient are doing all over the place, just constituting nuisance. Obi or nothing. Sensible people don't do that. Kwakwanso is showing himself to be sensible. So see, even if he doesn't become president, that singular action is to his credit. Whenever people want to do things, they will know that this kind of person, even if he changes his mind tomorrow, in Totishe, they're like, there's a way this man moves. He has considered, even though there's not much will come out of it. But I think personally that it's been strategic and it's good for him. I don't see any loss from that decision because regardless of what he does, he's not going to win. you know. It says by 2031, someone says here, by 2021, people will be telling Kwankwaso he aligns himself with stupidest, most bigoted person. That's not how politics work. Politics doesn't work like that. Have you ever heard anybody say to Atiku that he aligned himself with a bigot as deputy vice president? I mean, aligning himself with the vice president who was a bigot and says Peter Obi. Politics doesn't work the way I think you're being too idealistic. Omolomo. You have to take yourself out of it. Forget how you feel about Peter Obi. I don't like him very much. I don't mean I hate him. I just mean I don't like his policies. I don't even like his rhetoric. I think he appeals to the dullest of us. You know. And it's a shame. I think he appeals to the dumbest of us. Personally, and I like people to challenge me. So when I listen to someone who is leading, I want to be able to go read books after listening to the person. Which is why I like Fashola. Which is why I like Bat. Bola Tinubu. I don't want a leader that I will leave depressed. But that's me. But that doesn't change the fact that he also still remains a political leverage for some people. Listen. If we are discussing politics, let's discuss politics. There are people today who just put out flyers, and I saw one earlier today. People are moving to NDC. It's not because they like Peter Obi now. They saw what happened with LP in the last election. Tajasata became member of House of Representatives simply because he joined LP. And when they were shouting LP top to bottom, it favored him. I just thank God. I thank Jehovah that there was no governorship election at the same time, because he lose Bogwen here. He aligned himself with Peter Obi and he won. You don't have to like him. I don't have to like him. But that doesn't mean I cannot acknowledge the advantage that he brings to the table. If I were a political office, if I'm seeking a political office, I probably would align myself. I wouldn't, because I think I'm a bit more ideological, but generally speaking, as a politician, you align yourself with whoever wants to win. So I don't see what you're saying, and the reason is because you are being idealistic and maybe academic, but in reality, there's nothing wrong with what Kwankwaso is doing. And it's not like I even like it. Of course, I don't like NDC. It's not like I like the party, but I think one of the good things that that we all have to, understand is you don't have to like a person to acknowledge whatever they bring to the table. I don't like Peter Obi, but I know that 6 million votes is not small. He will not get it again, at least not in the Southwest. He can't get it anymore. But it doesn't mean that he's totally useless. So people want to take advantage of him. For instance, how to launch a fly the only reason they move to NDC is because of Peter Obi. And they're not going there because they like him. They are going there because of obedience. So if obedience live in their cities and their states, they will vote for them the same way they did LP. That's the calculation. Whether it will now work or not is left to be seen. But I think we should be careful before we judge, people like Kwankwaso. I don't think anything is wrong with what he's doing. But again, that's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. But I think we should be more objective on things like that. So we're reading some comment section here. Ade says, even a bike man became rep member last election via Obi's label. Exactly. An Okada rider became a member of House of Representatives because of the alliance, Abishe alignment with the obedient movement. Whether the person can now perform, that's a totally different conversation. But at least he jumped on the bandwagon and it worked for him. It is what it is. Omolomo says, I agree. Politics is dynamic and ever changing. It's just so sad that people refuse to see what it is. What makes you think they don't know what it is? So you think when they joined ADC, they didn't know what it was about? Of course they knew. Kenneth Okonkwo was talking the other day that when they started ADC, they had a meeting. He said this in an interview last week, that they had a meeting and they asked him how they were going to get the Southeast, and he said to them that if they're banking a bit of it, that they should not bank on him because he's not going to be part of any primary. They knew. Politicians, all bad go. They will know you have baggages, but they know what they want from you, and they'll get that thing that they can throw you away if they want, or they find a way to work with you with your issues. Who amongst them has no issues? that's why I like politicians sometimes, although they don't, most of them in Nigeria, they don't have any principles, but I appreciate their willingness sometimes to overlook certain things, contrary to how the majority of the people, particularly those of us who are so-called educated, will say, oh, this is wrong, this is bad. I'm okay with that now. All right. Someone says, I'm going to have to leave Omolomo after this one. It says he's dangerous for Nigeria. He's so dangerous for Nigeria and the future of his own people. God help us all. Thank you for that last bit. God help us all. He's not going to win. Every court needs a jester. Some people are always there just to make sure that it doesn't look as if he wants to be. But that's the only book in it. But we will make sure, by the grace of God, that Ashwaju wins again. Obi can never become president. Of all of them, there's no one as divisive as Obi. All you have to do, don't take anybody's word for it. Listen to his own interviews. Listen to his speeches. Obi that is telling us, you know what? Since we are here, we can play Kinigi Tomalo. We don't have a lot of people coming up, so that's okay. Let me see if I can play you some video. If you listen to him speak, you don't even have to. I'll see if I can find it for you. You don't even have to say a lot, right, to discredit him. Ó dẹ̀ ti wà discredited ní ẹ̀rọ lógo ọlọ́run. Torí kò ní wúlò fún àwọn ọmọ aráyé. I'll see if I can find you one video where he was talking about how Ibos were the ones that were building other people's places. He talks like, and the sad thing, right, is that in Igbo culture, if the educated person is speaking and a stark literate is speaking, they sound exactly the same way, which is quite interesting considering that you expect education to show, but it never seems to show. Umbo, I want to see if I can find you that video. I think you should listen to it. I think people here must have seen the video anyway, so even if I don't play it, you probably know. I'm saying that because I can't find it yet. But if we stay, you know what? I think somebody wants to speak. Let the person speak. And while the person is speaking, I'll just search. Hello, Concilium Proventus. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So, I mean, good evening to everyone. But we have an issue here. Between 67 and 70 in the federal cabinet. He was actually trying to restructure Nigeria. I guess when he realized that the army was not leaving, he just quit his position. This is the first time this country is being properly aligned to achieve its goals. What we are looking for and what we want, at least in the Southwest, is this: that we'll be able to manage our resources very well, obviously with the police acts as the police act of passed. And obviously, there will be a proper way to actually get resources. Taxation is not new to us in this part of the world, as in to be paying taxes. A lot of people will find it odd that master tax, but a lot of them never paid before anyway. What we want is for Baba to, as in Chuda Sinubu, to actually lay the foundation for a proper country to run. Because what we have been doing all these years, like on Wisdom Marawa, we have been running a pseudo national government. Everybody can't you heard about the man that stole 30-something, 31 billion. When you're not forward thinking, everybody get Kosako to a reform party. I don't know which party, the APC in Taraba State. What we want is, let us get this man in. This is for the Yoruba bots at Amode. Let us get this man in. Do our 4 years. I am sure that he will lay foundations for our protection afterwards. We might not get it for a while. Maybe 8 years of the Hausa presidency, and then they will lay it all down. But nobody could see up and north and south more. But at least when people come to us to want to join them, to support them in their presidential bid, they will come to us knowing that we are actually a force. Because they will know that only one more, on the area, one more. Because that's why we want him to get in. We don't want him to get him because we all like him like that. No, I'm not really a big supporter of the man. But everything he has done in this government, that is laying the foundation for a proper country to run. Everybody that is shouting, somebody was saying something. This government they're not doing a very good job, horrible job. Because there are so many trumpets that they can blow and nobody knows about it. Because they are being drowned out by all this so that's one of the things that you need to tell people. We need to get this money in. We need to spend the next 4 years to lay proper foundation for this country. The sad thing about it is that if they don't get him in, you will see that whomever wins after him in next year will start claiming all the things he has done. We have done this. We are building the Sokoto, Badagry, we are building the coast. And they were acting like they always supported it. We all know what they are. They like claiming other people's glory. That's their way. Even Atiku will claim the glory for everything that's going on right now. He will claim it. That is his way. They don't know how to build anything. Look at the antecedents. They have not built anything anywhere, be it in Adamawa or in Anambra, nothing anywhere. And this man is laying the foundation for a proper country to run. I tell you, Atiku was saying something about the NNPC refineries that are going to be sold. I tell you this, what he will do to go and meet those Chinese guys that cut me a deal, cut me in, and let me have a piece of it. He will give it to them on a platter. So they all want to claim credit for what this man has done because they know it. None of them is going to reverse any of his policies. None of them. We all know what they're going to do. So, but we all need to vote for this man. How he does it in the north is down to whomever is supporting. He's supporting him there. They'll probably support him to get their votes because the presidential election comes first. But we in the southwest, we need to vote for him en masse. At our now, you know, see, the president, we all know that he's fooling himself or he's fooling his grandparents. The truth of the matter is that we need to get him in. We need to get him in. Let them shout from now to tomorrow. Their noise, as in white noise. They don't have a snowball chance in there. Whatever Kwankwaso does, Kwankwaso is just edging his bets that somebody will support me in 2031 if I'm going to be the man from the outside. But there are people in APC themselves, they want to contest in 2031 and this is governor Tofile. He's also playing a game as well. He just wants to get the second time, so he might even be eligible to contest presidency as the presidential primary APC to the time bad day. So we need him to get him. We need him to get him. Kwankwaso is a non-player, but Tofile has actually rendered him. We don't know whether he still has a party or a base because Buba Galadima is in NNPC. NNPC.
NDC, NDC.
No, who is NDC? His original party.
NMPP.
Buba Galadima is still there. And Buba Galadima is one of the staunchest supporters. Because I think he was let go by Buhari and then he just started ranting and cursing everybody in APC out. But that is his own problem. They all want what they want. But we want this man to get in. And I pray that a lot of you people will give him overwhelming vote. Ẹ má worry pẹ̀lú yẹn àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ òṣòro ariwo òṣòro social media yóò kà máa type wọ́n máa dín pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ níbi tó wà yẹn wọ́n á dín pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ dáadáa ó ní nǹkan táwọn náà máa ń ṣe nílùú wọn tó ń jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn dìbò it's very easy ní ṣe kí ló kọ́ ọ̀nà wọn yẹn ní Òṣòdì Ṣọlọ̀ gbogbo wọn ní jáde tó bá jáde wọn á jẹgba fún wọn ni but ẹ jẹ́ ká bá ọkọ̀ tó máa jẹgba fún wọn ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ò ṣòro pé kí ni tó bá káwọn ló pọ̀ jù gan tó bá débẹ̀ tí o bá tó bẹ̀ wọ́n máa campaign fún kínní wàá rí i pé wọ́n á fi tèkó wọ̀ ẹ́ but ìyẹn ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀la ni. So we need to vote for this man. We all need to support him. I'm telling everybody, go and get your voter card. It's still going to be open till August. I get a voter card. I can't dìbò fún arákùnrin kó wọlé. By 4 years.
Let's wrap up.
4 years, we will be protected. Yeah. So anybody that comes to meet us after that to support the presidential bid, we will not be coming to meet us maybe our baby for protection. No. We will be a power in our own right. Because right now this man has turned into a power. They never thought of us as a factor when Obasanjo was there. They are not with us. They are not with the North. Who are they with? Tinubu made us a player on the kidney, so we need to be a bigger player.
No, sir. Thank you very much. How come when you come over there? Come, was okay. That's when people now say. I think people like one person going up first, then everybody wants to speak. Anyway, I'm going to bring people up, but please let's keep it short so that we can go. Like I wanted to close at 7 actually, but it's good. It's okay. Just please keep it short, 2 minutes, and then all the time I was reading comments. You guys are supposed to be the one speaking, and there was okay. All right, so let's keep it short. All right, please once you get up, please mute, and then we'll call on you to share your thoughts. Okay, I think we have. Okay, good evening, Bumblebee. Ẹkáàbọ. Yes, sir. Please go on.
I think one thing we need to start your younger siblings, your older siblings, uncles and aunties, Oja the Konogba PVC, and also our politicians. They should make it easy for us to access. Like I said, I've done my best to get it. I'm not the type to really care about voting like that, but now that everybody is kind of serious about it, can make it more easy and accessible for us. And another thing that might be our leaders were, maybe we really need to have a very, very serious what to do our youth forum, so that when everybody is heading in a direction for development, youth development, let's go there. Let's take our SWGC, Southwest Development Commission goals and non-commission goals very, very seriously and pursue it aggressively. It's very, very clear. This VAT, sharing the formula. So we are the most productive in the country. We are the least boastful. We are the least kingdom market, the least entitled. Feeling entitled. When it comes to feeling entitled, we are the ones that don't even blow our own horn. So we need to be more serious. We need to wake up from our, complacency and pursue our development goals aggressively. We need to do it.
Thank you very much, Bumblebee, for that fantastic submission. Please get your voters cards, get your PVC, and I know it should make things easier. But please, I think if you go there now, I think it's going to be a lot easier. Because what my do be August, Lady Adele. Someone says least entitled. Who is Caesar Leo? He's very correct though. The way people contribute the most, and we just read the VAT now. Now you're about land they collect. Oyo State has almost times 3 of what the entire South is produced or generated. Right? You don't see us going everywhere shouting we have something more than people. So he's right. And we're the least entitled. We're not saying that because we are this, give us this. So he was talking about you, right? I hope you got the message. And okay. There's another person, but I can't see the person. Mr. Femi, are you there? I don't think the person knows how to use TikTok. Hello, Mr. Femi, are you there? Hello. Okay. Mr. Femi Akinose. All right. I think we're just going to have to call it a day. If Robin not available. Okay, we'll have Mimi for please 2 minutes and then we'll call it a day. We'll just close the session. I'll bring up Mimi and then we'll have 2 minutes of a submission. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ẹkáàbọ.
Good evening, sir. Ekale. Ekason. Yeah, so I just want to mention briefly that even though I don't live in Nigeria, more information ministers for all the previous regimes, previous administrations. This particular administration that should have an information minister does not seem to have a cabinet level person in charge of information. All the people that do it are doing it as a side hustle. Ambassador Reno Mokrinche, Fanikayo Dinshe, Boala is an advisor. They need, for those people that have contacts that are solid with President Tinubu, he's the one that actually needs an information minister, because he's doing some things that, if not that some of us come on your program or we started looking for it, we won't even know that he's doing all the road constructions that, that look good for a developing society. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then the other thing is, our governors, people need to demand for town halls with Southwest governors. They seem to be in their own world. They don't understand self-preservation. It's àwọn ará bíi wọn kì í sọ̀rọ̀ síta ṣùgbọ́n ó ní báwọn èèyàn wọn ṣe máa ń ṣe nǹkan. Wọ́n ní láti understand pé tó bá ó dáa ni gbogbo wọn ṣe fẹ́ lọ from State House to Senate. They need to start thinking. They need to start being on the same page as the people they govern. Otherwise, there's a survival issue for Yoruba. I started going on Twitter, Nigeria, and I realized the hatred town propagandists in style from Yoruba. Some of them swearing that Yoruba will need a presidency for another 100 years. And even though, contrary to some of us that don't want to be out there, I've had to even push back with a lot of, tweets that I just delete, but Musha Manko. The truth is, if we don't get to communicate with these governors, the way things are and how they themselves, as people in positions of authority, can actually help the Yoruba cause, we're fast losing ground as a people. One need to stop at Imatale anyhow. That is just the bottom line. Because even when I was young, like 40 years ago, they've always been in the market. And I can't just imagine how Gbagi and Lebanon Street at knowing how Lagos is. That would be nice. That would be nice because aláti máa ṣe nǹkan tó jọmọ́ àṣà Yorùbá, because somebody was writing the other day pé you go in the marketplace, yellow, woman, come here, their culture. Nigeria is now associated with not the Omoluabi culture. Globally, we're associated, apart from the intelligence and the technical know-how, in terms of character, negative character traits, Tomo Wamo is actually those things associated with these people. And so, eni tó bá mọ̀ tí kò bá sọ̀rọ̀, àwọn tí kò mọ̀ ló máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ń pọ́n dà. So, at this point in time, not only does President Tinubu need an information person who is cabinet level, Yoruba Southwest governors need to sit down and think. The times of Owambe governors, Facebook, they need to think, because this entire globe, control it. They control a lot of things. The elite Oyimbos are the ones controlling the events that we think are regular or normal. There's nothing spontaneous. Everything is synchronized, even in the United States. Everything. Ládùúgbò tí mò ń gbé, tí realtor bá ti fẹ́ ta ilé jù fún dúdú àbí Indian, wọ́n máa pè to order. So they already have a percentage. Torí wọ́n sọ pé school districts yìí dá Òyìnbó demographic ibẹ̀. So wọ́n ní fẹ́ alter 80% white tó wà ń bẹ̀. So àwọn realtors yẹn ní bọ́n ṣe máa ń pàdé ara. Tó máa ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ sí WhatsApp groups wọn pé ó yá o lè tà fún Indian ju méjì lọ ní subdivision yìí. You can't sell to more than one black person in this subdivision. Every group tó máa survive, tí civilization wọn máa endure, must have thinkers at the helm of affairs. And I don't see that happening a lot in Yoruba land, sadly. I think people on this forum who have influence in politics should begin to drum up those and this is a very good forum, actually. It's the first time I'm actually seeing evidence that Yorubas are thinking as a collective. And I think they should expand that. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mimi. And that was a fantastic submission. And it's important that we take these things to heart. And it's quite, unfortunate. I mean, when Jonathan was in government, the spokesman for APC was Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Then he became Minister of Information under Buhari. Sincerely, if I don't Google, I can't remember the name of the present Minister of Information. I don't know whether it goes on NTA, because maybe that's why I don't. See anybody. Or you know what? Let's do a little experiment, right? Please please, if you know, okay, let me ask like this. If you know the name of the Minister of Information, don't Google it. If you know the name of the Minister of Information, please write in the comment section. Or let me put it this way. If you know the name, just say yes. If you don't know, say no. I think that's the better way. I just want to quickly see if you know the name of the Minister of Information, please say yes. If you don't know, say no. Okay, so we have a no. Omolomo says yes. Did you Google? Yeah, you are a very different. I mean, like you're unique in that sense. I know he's a northerner. That's all I know. Someone says outside. I don't know if he's outside. Interestingly, I know. Someone says NMPP now. Only Olubunmi Tunji I know. I mean, Olubunmi Tunji is actually more popular than Olubunmi Tunji Ojo himself. Even Zacchaeus Adeleji in now they call it National Revenue Service (FIRS) before, and of course Tawe Dele. These are people that you know. We don't know the Minister of Information, which says a lot that I don't think is informing many people. If we are really being serious about this thing, how can Minister of Information not be known to be informed? I mean, when Laura Quinley was Minister of Information, we knew then now. Let's look for his name so I can tell you. Come on, we're just talking without. Okay. Omolomo, please tell us his name. Yeah, I can't even find his name here. Since you know and the rest of us don't, please tell us his name. I wish I knew his name, by the way, without having to ask you. His name is Alhaji Mohammed Idris. Mohammed Idris. He's been appointed since August 21, 2023. August 23. I've only heard him speak once. I think there was one issue like that, but it was forgettable. And it's not too good. It's not too good. It should, I don't know, the kind of things that Tinubu has done. And this is 2026. The audience is on YouTube. The audience on Facebook, on TikTok. We're using NTA. NTA is good though. At least now they're also coming hard on Twitter. But they should speak to people where they are, I beg. See, a lot of no's on YouTube, a lot of no's on Facebook, a lot of no's on TikTok. People don't know the person. It's not too good. Sheikh's Bay says he's the owner of Blueprint newspaper. Do you know Blueprint newspaper? That's the first question I want to ask you. Sheikh Sabi is on TikTok. What is it? What is Blueprint newspaper? May his paper succeed, may he do well, but we don't really know him. That's the truth. We don't. And it's not good. All of that to say that, but I should also add this. Those of us who have platforms, let's also talk about what Tinubu is doing. I think we're going to have a session. I just want to talk about the things he has done. I know there are things that, like I always say, security is something that needs to be worked on. But the things that he has done so far, we're going to have a session. We'll just discuss those things. Because if the official people are not doing it, I think some of us should also do our bit. Your mind says, Wiki, Dave Umahi, Tunji Ojo, CBN governor are the popular ones. Yes. So the thing about Minister of Information is that it doesn't even have to do anything to be popular. That's the thing. Well, let me put it this way. He doesn't have to, he has to do something, but he doesn't have to struggle to be popular. All he has to do is do his work, disseminate information. You should be seen. Most of these other people don't even have to be seen. They could be heard. For instance, when you want to know about the tax issues, the first port of call should be Minister of Information before you now have the tax guy. Because he will be in people's faces, so they will ask him questions. I don't know, do we have we used to have Oluremi Oyo under, can you imagine? The name I just mentioned right now was under Obasanjo. I still remember I just remember her hairstyle. She was always on, she used to cut her on low cut. I can't remember a particular post, but she was the president's child. I think it was maybe SC, I don't know, or press, whatever. Okay, well, to be fair though, let me also say this. To be fair, at least Mr. Bayo Odonuga is quite popular. Mr. Bayo Odonuga is popular. So even if you don't know Minister of Information, it's also the spokesperson. Sunday Dare is also spokesperson. I just remember their names now. Sonny Dari is also a spokesperson. Daniel Bwala, but Bayo Onanuga specifically, so yeah, it's important to remember those ones as well. Maybe the minister decided to have the essays and SSAs focus on it. Maybe that's a strategy. It could be a strategy, But what Bayo Onanuga is doing is also very good. He's using Twitter, I see Sonny Dari on TV, on channels. Well, maybe it is. I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe it's a strategy. Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe it's not a camera, which is quite interesting considering the mission of information. But anyway, the point is, people are speaking, right? People in the government are also speaking up. But I think more needs to be done, and the government should do more. But we're also going to do what we can to highlight the good things that the president is doing, and he's doing a lot of good things. We will have sessions to discuss all those things, right? Mimi says, Sonny Dari and so on are doing well, but are not cabinet level officials. Well, they represent the president. I think that's the point. But I get your point as well. Anyway, hopefully the government is listening and people working in government are listening. By the way, they listen to these live sessions. And I know that because that was to say because, but yeah, they listen. So please, if you are listening, kindly, you have platforms for crying out loud. You have NOA, you have VON, you have NTA, you have FRCN. But you see, those platforms, you have to not just digitize them in terms of equipment. You have to get on social media. You have to be where people are. Right? You can't be streaming NTA on straight to TV alone or use DSTV. Going to South Africa, going to no DSTV. People have gone beyond cable. Stream on YouTube. Why is NTA not streaming on YouTube? I was looking for their channel the other day. I found one obscure channel like that, but it's not. What does it take? And NTA has more money than any media organization in this country. I can say it with my full chest. There is nobody that comes close to NTA. IPN will be. Forget allocation. What they make, even with all the things that people are saying about NTA, if you know how much those people make, because all those adverts on machine, it's not free. They make a lot of money. They've got to get on stream on YouTube. What's stopping them from streaming? Al Jazeera is streaming on TikTok. BBC is streaming on TikTok. I've seen BBC. I've seen Al Jazeera. I think even this is it GB. They also stream on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok. They're streaming. I don't know. Well, thankfully, at least we also have channels in Nigeria and Arise. They also stream. But channels actually does it better because they're always on. I see videos from Arise and from. Well, I think Arise also streams like that, right? Yeah. So people, they should stream through along. Yes, GB News. We have channels. I don't know why they're still caught up in this old. We are on cable thing. This is 2026. I beg. Anyway. What we can do, we will do. We'll make sure we talk about what he has done. And like I said the other day, we have to acknowledge some of the great things. The Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway is being built. The other time they said it was not going to go beyond 3 kilometers. Now it's gone way beyond that. And not only in the Lagos part of the project, also from the Calabar, they are already working from the Calabar section as well. There's also Lagos Sokoto, super highway. That's also going on. Recently, there's a conversation about railways. I'll come with all the details, but the point is, things are being done. There are kids graduating from uni using nail funds these days. Something that was totally strange when we were in school. It's quite nice to see it. And here's the thing: even if you think you are too big to collect, you still have to acknowledge the fact that some people need it. And I'm saying that to those who are always looking for a way to put the government down. So government is doing a lot, right? But we've got to talk about it. And I think it's not just the government that should talk about it. If you like the president, also talk about it. Because you have people saying things like Kilo Tishegon. You tell them. Saidat Adeyinka on YouTube says he's a new payman. I think he's talking about the Minister of Information. Is a new payman. Oh, okay. That's okay. Your mind says NTA streams on YouTube. They don't have. They have one channel like that. You know, NTA has the. Don't let me talk. I don't like talking about NTA. It just makes me feel terrible. I don't. You know, when they were working on, we finished. We are done with today's session. We're just gisting at this point. We're going to close very soon. When they were working on the digitization of NTA, the kind of thing those people were saying they were going to do. Voila, NTA is streaming. No, this man is correct though.
Papa Lagos for a one-day national export efficiency.
NTA is streaming. No, I looked for this last month?
An efficient non-oil export ecosystem.
Okay, that's NTA streaming. That's good news. I just checked. Thank you, Yomites, for telling us that on YouTube. No, that's actually good. So I've seen their videos, but I've never really seen them stream live. Sorry, I'm checking as if I'm acting as if I'm a like I'm a child in a toy shop. It's actually good. Someone said maybe it's seasonal. I hope it's not. I hope it's not seasonal. But I mean, that's what I just saw right now is actually quite good. Hopefully they keep pushing, in people's faces. Right. And they have to stop all this. If we do something in Lagos, we also have to do it in Kaduna. Those things they do doesn't make sense. Don't worry. Every time I talk about NT, I'm always talking about this thing because it pains. Oh man, do me go. What's another program? AM Express. They use Federal character to destroy that program. They need to do better, Sha. May God bless everybody. NTA, by the way, I'm very happy to see them on YouTube. This is very nice. So you guys also watch NTA, Sha. But I hope the programming is good. And we'll see. Anyway, let's all talk about, things government is doing and support the president and also, share good news about Nigeria. It's been a lovely, lovely conversation today. We listened to how Ibos hijacked the Federal Civil Service. We have a video going up on YouTube now. It's also on TikTok and Facebook. No more outsiders in Yoruba politics. Right? No more outsiders in Yoruba politics. Why the Southwest is closing the gates. All right, let's make some of these things popular. Free Spirit said they're on TikTok too. Maybe they just joined though, because I checked a while back. I didn't see NTA there. So if they are there right now, then that's beautiful, and we should applaud them. You know what? Let me clap for them. So we clap for NTA for coming on social media. I mean, it's better late than never. It's very nice. All right. Thanks everyone for being part of this session. We'll be here tomorrow. We're going to have a full session by the grace of God, and we have a number of things to discuss, and it'll be lovely. So join us 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time, and we are going to have a great time together. Before we go today, we're going to listen to our anthems, the Nigerian anthem and also the Yoruba anthem. But before we go, let me even wrap up the whole session by saying this. The hijacking of the Federal Civil Service in 1964 is similar to what's going on today. And what if a person could be bold enough to publish the list that he published, that's okay or not, whatever that list he published in Oshodi Solo, if a person could be bold enough to publish that, you can only imagine the things that they've done that they've not even published, right? And how clannish that kind of person would be, and how much he must have, shortchanged the indigenous people of the land. And we say that to say that elections are coming. We don't want to have a repeat of what happened in 2023. People were saying LP top to bottom. A lot of people voted out of anger. You didn't like the president. You didn't like Buhari. You were angry because of NSAS. Now the chickens are coming home to roost. I saw a lot of people who were supporting LP in last election now saying that they are standing up for Shodi. They are doing this. They've forgotten that they were the exact same persons who said LP top to bottom. Okay? They're talking about Etiosa right now with Ajosata. Anyway, the point is people are speaking up now, and I'm happy that people are waking up. It's better late than never. But I want to make sure that we don't make that same mistake. Don't make that mistake again in the coming election. Regardless of who you are, where you are from, get your PVCs. get involved, vote. Don't play football. I know I'm saying it. Don't play football in election. They talk to your family members as well. Let's all vote. Let's all go out and get happy visas. And even if you're not in Nigeria, support, help, talk to people. That's the least thing we can do to ensure that we don't have voter apathy in Yoruba land. Thanks for being part of today's session. We're going to listen to our anthems now, and then we'll call it a day. Here's a Nigerian anthem. Take a listen. One second, please. We're having a little issue with our anthems, but we're going to get it sorted in a bit. Please bear with us.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀, ìmọ́lẹ̀ wo ni wọ́kùn lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́, Nàìjíríà náà ò ní bàjẹ́, ilé wa ọ̀nà wa ò ní bàjẹ́ lágbára Ọlọ́run. May God bless you. May God bless everything connected to you. May God bless our land, our nation, Yoruba land, and our country, Nigeria. Thank you so much for being part of today's session. I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. If you'd like to support what we're doing, please reach out to me. My Telegram handle is Busui Oris. And then tomorrow we can, put up the account details as well. Thanks so much for being part of today's session. Have a lovely, lovely evening. God bless you. Odaro. Eshew.